let's move on and get into the fighting applications of this form. We're going to go over the fighting applications we find within front position, within the pinan opening, and within the form as well. Starting right from front position, we know this as an attention stance and a bow of respect. We actually have an udunde here, which is a hidden hand movement. What's going on is we have a double wrist grab. I'm bringing both of the attacker's wrists together, grabbing one wrist and creating a center lock. And as I bow, that drops the person down into the center lock. All right, up. So again, off the double wrist grab, bring the hands up, grab one, create a center lock, and then apply the pressure down as if to bow. All right, so that's really where we're seeing the fighting application in front position. Bringing the wrists up together, striking the wrists together, grabbing one wrist, and creating a center lock. Now, moving on to the pinan opening. Pinan opening we see as from front position, bow, step out, and roll. We have several different attacks here. One of them is a double person attack. Gentlemen? So what's happening is, I have one person on one side, I have another person on the other side, and they're going to grab. Okay? Now, what we see is we drop down into a low horse stance. The reason we drop down into a low horse stance is I want to create a center. I want to create balance for myself. From here, closing my hands, striking both either to the solar plex or if they're close enough, to the groin. All right? Now, we can see this as a double person. We can also see this as a single person. If one person is grabbing, I can take only one side. I can drop down and strike to the groin. All right? This would allow for the person to loosen their grip, and from there, I can execute another technique. All right? So, we have a double person attack. We also have single person attacks. All right? This works off of the person, both sides grabbing with two hands. Also works with both sides grabbing with one hand. Now, in this case, I can either strike to the groin as I previously did, or now I can start getting their hands off of me. All right? So what I'm doing is I'm raising my hands up, driving their hands away, and then striking. Okay? It works on both sides as well. That was same side grab if you guys grab opposite side. Okay? Again, from here, I can push their arms away and then strike. All right? So that is the fighting application within the pinan opening. Now, moving on to the form. What you're not going to find in one pinan is block a punch, step in, and strike. Even though that's the movement, the actual fighting application doesn't fit very well. And if we look, sir, if the attacker throws a punch and I block the punch down, and I step in, I'm far too close to hit him with an effective strike. Now, if the strike was from the rear leg, that would be a different story. And we do see that in other forms, but not here. All right, so we're not seeing block the punch and then strike because we have that step in, which now brings us too close to the attacker. This is what we are seeing. I'm facing a direction, person grabs my shoulder. Why are they grabbing my shoulder? They're going to pull me around and punch me in the face. Okay, I need to stop that from happening. So, when we see in the form, we draw that hand up to our shoulder and we do that 180-degree turn. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing his hand. Now I'm turning 180 degrees. Now when I do that, I'm lifting his arm over my head and bringing my arm down in what looks like a downward block. Actually, it's a wrist manipulation. Okay? Now I have him here, I can step through and bust his elbow. Okay? Up. This works on both sides. Same side and opposite side. So this time, I do that same exact motion, grabbing his hand, going under the bridge, and locking his arm out. Stepping through and now striking to the head. Alright? Another thing that we see within one pinan as well as other forms, when we have that step through punch, it's not necessarily a punch. More often than not, it's a push. Alright, and we're going to get into that with our 270-degree turn. Now, with this turn, we're seeing a couple things. This is only one of them. What we're going to have is we're going to have a two-person attack, gentlemen. All right. And we're going to walk through this nice and slow. What's going on is we have two people in front of us. The first person initiates the contact by throwing a push. And what I'm doing is, in the form, I'm here, and I bring my hands up for that big turn. What's happening is, as he pushes, I'm knocking one hand low and bringing one hand high, grabbing the wrist, and then turning 3/4 of a circle, letting his momentum continue, and then striking the second person in the bladder area, in the groin, with that hammer fist. Okay? Now, getting back to the step-through punch being a push. When the first attacker pushes me and I turn them around, drive that hammer into the second attacker. When I hit him, he's going to bend over. All right? Now I'm not going to step through and punch him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step through and push. Okay? So we see, gentlemen, we see that not just because it's in the form as step-through punch doesn't mean that we can't step through and push. All right? Which is more to the point of what we're doing. So again, the first person pushes, turn them away, and strike the second person with my hammer fist. Okay? Then I can step through and push them out of the way. All right? So that's what we're seeing in one pinan, where we have the end of the first line, turn those hands, here's that push, okay, along with that turn into our downward block. Okay, that downward block actually being a hammer fist. Every block is a strike, every strike is a block. All right? That is a beginning to the fighting applications we see in one pinan. Just because we've outlined these fighting applications in one pinan does not mean that there are not others. All right? That's the beauty of forms. We can keep working with them and find new applications and find refine the ones that we have. All right, so there's a good look at the fighting applications of one pinan. Thank you.